people come to us typically, it's because they haven't been able to find what they need elsewhere. They've been to all of the clinics, they've been to see all the various doctors, and in fact, many doctors actually send their clients to us when they don't know what to do anymore. I literally feel that connection like I'm a child of the Most High. So I think that if I am a child of the Most High, then I'm entitled to all of the goodness. You know what I'm saying? So I don't deny or deprive myself of anything that I actually really want.
Mic check, we're live. We are live. Welcome to another episode of the Grind Chronicles. If you live in Atlanta, my guest today needs no introduction, but I'm just going to run down a few of the little things he's working on. Not even little things, big things. We are here actually today in the home of his pharmacy, SMI Pharmacy, as well as he's a restaurateur, am I saying that right? But Veganic frequency restaurant, as well as the Holistic University. No other, my good friend Gabriel Hernandez. Thank you, sir. We don't have mic stands today, or we would clap in here, but hey, you got to get it done. So we're grinding. So we forgot the mic stands, but we're doing this interview without the mic stands. Gabe, thank you for being here.
No worries.
I appreciate. Thanks for fitting us in. Such a. I know you're a busy guy, but we want to talk about some of the things that you got going on. So, because we're here, start us out. Give us a rundown of SMI Pharmacy. When we walked in today too, Tim, who's behind the camera, was like, man, I've never seen this kind of setup in this country. And I've heard other people say that about SMI. Full disclosure, your e-commerce as well as have an actual retail shop, but tell us about SMI and how it actually works.
Okay, so SMI Pharmacy is basically an herb shop, an apothecary. SMI Pharmacy, it was actually the brainchild of my wife. I've always wanted to do an herb shop. She came up with a brilliant idea for an apothecary, which is basically an old school type herb shop. That means, and that's why we put pharmacy on there with an F. Okay. So my wife is a farmer, so we actually grow herbs, we grow food, and we were actually serving the community with the things that we grew on the farm. We then learned, let's take it to another level. SMI, just so you know what it means Sekhmet Medicine Awakens Imhotep. And so basically that's a homage to ancient Egypt and the father of medicine, etc., etc. Okay. So basically what we do here is we actually custom formulate teas, tinctures, herbal formulations, aromatherapy formulations, all types of things. We even custom formulate bath salts. Women come and they set up their own perfume, so it's non-toxic. We have a place where we deal with oral dentistry holistically. So we have basically anything that you're dealing with. When people come to us typically, it's because they haven't been able to find what they need elsewhere. They've been to all of the clinics, they've been to see all the various doctors, and in fact, many doctors actually send their clients to us when they don't know what to do anymore. And so we usually get them on the last leg. We would love to get you before you get to that place. Yeah. That would be ideal. But the way our society is set up, that's typically when we see people.
Last resort, unfortunately.
Last resort.
So it's more, you're not doing preventive, not for everybody.
The ideal is preventive. You know,
yeah.
this is all preventive medicine. However, because of how our society is set up, and that's why, what's your name again, brother? Tim. That's why Tim hasn't seen this in America. That's why this is embraced in Europe, in Africa, in Asia. The rest of the world, 80% of the world outside of this country utilize herbal medicine as their main source of medicinal health and wellness. So for us, it's kind of like the last thing. But that's just because of how the modern allopathic system is set up in this country. So that's a whole other.
I was going to say, that's probably a whole nother podcast. I think I know the answer.
Yeah.
But in short, it's a reason. There's two, probably you would say, and is it too much money's being made on the other end?
It's not even that. In the early 1900s, John D Rockefeller basically cornered the market. He bought out all of the medical schools, and he bought out the Allopathic American Medical Association. And so basically what they did was they removed naturopathic medicine, they removed massage, they removed herbalism, they removed homeopathy, they removed all the things that work and help people very simply and naturally, and only put toxic drugs as the main focus. So basically they look at your symptoms, they say, okay, you're coughing, you're sneezing, runny nose, etc. So we're going to give you this particular toxin to deal with these particular symptoms. And what they, it was John D Rockefeller, so he's a big oil billionaire right at the time. So he found a way to introduce what is known as petrochemicals into all the pharmaceutical industry. So all of your pharmaceutical drugs are coated in basically some form of petroleum extract. It's basically, we could do a whole.
That's a gem within itself, because most people don't know that.
No, they don't.
And that's because I gotta assume that probably up until the turn of the century, most things in this country were treated like this, because we have people that come from not only the American Indians that were here, but people that came from China and technically Africans and people in the slave trade, but then other countries too, European countries, they were probably treating all that stuff the way you guys were treating it until it became a business.
That's right. I mean, it's all written in the history books. Even in Europe, although some of their, you might say, their medical practices were pretty barbaric. At the forefront of their medicine was herbal medicine, which they adopted via Imhotep in Greece, via who they were revering as the follower of medicine, Hippocrates. But Hippocrates actually worshipped Imhotep.
Wow.
And so a lot of Hippocrates' herbal medicine was actually written directly from Imhotep's writings. So and this is the foundation even of modern allopathic medicine. So even your medical doctors have to take what is called a Hippocratic oath.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way the Grind Chronicles is set up, like I said, this could be another podcast itself, but let's get to the business side of it.
Yeah.
So when your wife and you decided to open up, what was the business model to herbs? Like, I know I've been to your house. I know you guys grow.
Yeah.
Got a crazy farm garden out there.
Yeah.
But how do you make it work as a business? Because at the end of the day, you still got to feed your family and everybody.
Definitely. Man, it's funny. When we started, we were doing just teas, keeping it simple. People were requesting certain things, and me being a naturopathic doctor, at the time I wasn't currently seeking clients, right? But people would seek me out from time to time. They would get my name and my number from someone who I'd helped in the past. And during, so roughly about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we started getting a lot of influx of people needing assistance. And so we just kind of looked at each other, and I said, you know what? I said, since this is picking up a little bit, I said, we can start moving in this direction. This is something that you want to do more. I said, let's go. And so basically, we started with one formula, because the formula that we started with was something called Infinity Complex. And the reason why I'm breaking this down so I can give you like some numbers and show you how it all works. Yeah, so a lot of people deal with, you know, in business, you know, there's wholesale, resale, or retail, excuse me, which is resale, right? And so when you're dealing with retail, generally you're looking at like a 33% markup across the board.
Okay.
In the restaurant business, typically you're looking at about a 25% of your total margin being your profit, you know? So there's a lot of different variables in here, but what we ended up doing, the products that were similar to the product that we were doing was over $50. Okay, our first product, if you go on the market, it's generally about $50. We sell it for a little bit less than that, and we make it by hand with love, right? So when we were making that first product, after I spent probably $2,000 up front just on all of the raw material, all of the herbs. I bought everything in bulk, you know.
Okay.
You know, pounds and pounds and pounds of everything.
Yeah.
Bought the best possible amber glass. I got the best tops that you could have, you know. And even that all being said, when it all broke down, when I broke all the numbers down, we were looking at $4 a bottle.
Okay, and including the product.
Including the product.
Okay.
Everything from start to bottom, label, $4 walking out the door. And so we looked at the profit margin. We were like, oh, I said, we got something. Yeah. You know, and
explain this supplement, this drug that you were selling. Is it like a multivitamin, the Infinity Complex? What did it do?
Okay, so just so we're 100% clear, you know, I don't treat, I don't diagnose, I don't cure, I don't claim any of that, and we don't sell any drugs. You know, and those are for medical doctors to do.
Okay.
So this is just an herbal supplement.
Okay.
And basically, it's it's an immunomodulator. So we use an assortment of what you would call medicinal mushrooms, including chaga, reishi, maitake, and others. We also added things like ashwagandha. So these are all basically immunomodulators. So if your immune system is a little low, it's going to stimulate it to make it do what it needs to do. Many of the herbs and the mushrooms that are in the actual complex are, how should I say, in vitro, like in studies, have shown to create what they call NTs, killer cells, which are like anti-cancer cells that your body produces. So these things like stimulate the body to do that. So this particular product, in these days and times where everybody's concerned about various viruses and their immunity, this is something that if you take every day, you don't really have to be concerned about what's going on around you. Your internal environment can dictate if it needs to turn up or turn down. You just need to give it what it needs.
And how did you come up with this complex? How did you put together the formula?
Actually, it had been dancing in my head for about 20 years. You know, I'm a naturopath. I graduated acupuncture college in 2001, and I finished some other certifications before that. Massage, acupuncture, detoxification, some energy medicine, Reiki, Qigong, some other things. And so as an herbalist, these were principles and herbs that I had been aware of. I just hadn't been in a setting and in a situation where I had enough of it to go ahead and say, I'm gonna turn this into a full-on business. I had been using other people's formulations instead of my own.
Instead of your own. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I like to say on our shows always is always about just getting started.
Yeah.
And you dropped a jewel there. I don't know if people heard it, so I'm going to reiterate the fact that you can literally go to Amazon. You can buy bottles. You can buy caps. You can print labels from your house.
That's right.
You can even order the supplements from Alibaba or somewhere overseas if you don't have them.
You can. I wouldn't say to do that.
Okay.
Because there's certain. So one thing I'm big on is cleanliness, making sure everything is organic.
Okay.
Making sure everything is clean from start to finish, and not to cut your wisdom, but ordering stuff that's already pre-made off of Alibaba.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, when stuff is coming from China, you don't necessarily have the checks and balances.
That makes sense.
They also have a lot of lead in their environment. So a lot of herbs do not meet certain requirements. If you order certain stuff from China, like via California, you'll see that it comes with the, California has this big thing where anything coming out of China is basically slapped with a sticker that says this thing may contain lead and it could cause cancer.
Wow.
And so you got to be very careful as far as where you source your products.
So
But
you guys sourcing, a lot of you are growing yourself, I'm assuming.
Certain things we do grow.
Okay.
Yes.
So sourcing, yes, we need to get from an accredited place that has the right things. But once you have that sourced, you can literally get, like, I think when people see a supplement in GNC or somewhere, they're like, I had this idea, but man, this has to come from a big factory and has to do, it does not.
No, our first product was nicer than anything that we actually carry from anybody else in our store.
Okay.
We used the best of everything. But then we learned people are throwing away this expensive glass that we're using. That keeps out all the UV rays and UVB and all this kind of stuff, which keeps everything fresh and on point. But what we ended up finding was a way that we could get the same protection, but have a better impact on the environment. So people aren't just throwing this away because we know people aren't reusing these glass bottles. So the bottles we use now are 100% biodegradable. If you were to throw them in a field, just don't throw them in a field. But if you do, within a year, the cap and the bottle itself will break down.
Now, is that, from a cost perspective, is that more than the glass or about the same?
It's about the same. Okay. And so it wasn't a loss for us, and for us it was a win. Because we're trying to do our best.
Does that help marketing wise too to your customers when you say that this is?
It does give us an extra level of marketing to let people know that our product is recyclable.
Okay.
Because especially as we're moving into this new green economy, you can see that even as far behind as we are as a country on this push, they're trying to spend some other billions to try to get some infrastructure and go green and turn things around, because we don't really have a whole lot of time in that regard. Yeah.
And so, like I said, you could put those together. And when you guys first started doing your own things, like I'll say too, I've known you for a long time. Years ago, you were preaching CMOS when now it's like the biggest, now I see TikTok videos about taking your daily CMOS. And 10 years ago, you were telling me yo, you should really get some CMOS into your system. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell CMOS is. I see moss on trees. Is that the same thing? You were breaking it down to me. So I know you've been ahead of the game, but so when you get these things, so you put together your bottles, your $4 bottle, how do you market something like that once you get it together?
Man, we just started real organic. To your CMOS question, I mean, it's interesting. When I graduated from school 20 years ago, I immediately thought that I did something wrong because no one knew or understood what it was that I did or do. It was like, what did you go to school for? You do what? What? What is that? But now it's like everyone is waking up. You see, we got the sister right next door does acupuncture. Yeah. It's beautiful. The brothers right next door, chiropractors. So, 20 years ago, I may have been ahead of the curve a little bit, but people are catching up now, and now it's that time. It's my time, if you will. So it's like, and I knew that even then. I was like, it's gonna take about 20 years, but who cares? Yeah. I was doing it for me in the first place anyway. I didn't do it. I didn't go and study these things so that I could figure out how to make a whole bunch of money up front. I was doing it because I wanted to understand my body, my health. I'm a big proponent in know thyself. So I wanted to know myself. I wanted to know what it was that made me tick, how my body functioned. So all of those things made a big impact on that. But I didn't mean to get off of your original question. Can you?
I'm saying how did you market?
Oh yeah,
you were saying real organic.
Yeah, so we were organic, man. I literally I reached out to everybody in my phone. You were probably in the text message. I reached out to everybody in my Facebook friend feed. I inboxed everybody. Hey, if you know somebody, or if you are needing some help with your health, boom, I can help you with this. This is a product that we have. It helps with X, Y, and Z. We name the pain points, etc. Okay. And
Because I would think that would take some explanation.
Yeah.
The average person.
I kept it simple.
Yeah.
I tried to do it as much like a television commercial as I could within a message.
Okay.
Like, hey, here's a new product that I have. If you support me, if you're a friend of mine, if you don't need it, just tell a friend, that may need, because everybody knows somebody who's having some health challenges.
Yeah.
So that's how I approached it. And it wasn't like they immediately flew off the shelf or anything, but they were selling. And it went from 1 a week to 2 a week to 4 a week, and 10 a week. And it was like, oh, we might have something. And so we kind of transferred from that inertia into going into another product. So we said, okay, I bought all of these herbs. And I bought a lot of herbs. I bought like $2,000 worth of herbs. So I bought everything and like I said, I did that not just to do a business. I did that up front for my family and for myself, for my wife, to make sure we had everything we needed. And then so it was kind of like, even that first product was really for us. It was like, man, let's make something that's, it's got everything we need. Boom, make sure, because the way it even came about was, how could I make something that if I don't eat anything else, if I don't take anything else, if I just took this one supplement, make it enough for me nutrition-wise, so I get all my 90 main nutrients for the day, that I could function if I didn't eat anything else. That was really the first thought I had.
Now, with it's no secret what this world has gone through in the last 18 months.
Yes.
Did that supply an uptick of people coming to your sales, or was it the other way around? How?
It did, but people were already interested. So it was starting to get around. By the time the pandemic hit, we were already full swing selling herbs and doing pop-ups here and there. So our products were getting around, but I could say at that point we were still keeping it organic. And even to this day, we're still keeping it organic right now. We're just now moving into full-fledged like online marketing, like paid marketing. Everything we've done has been organic. Everything's been, in our herb shop here is either foot traffic, or people that are already our clients that want to come here, and either if we have a session, like we do holistic health consultations. We deal in energy medicine, so if they come through and they want to get their frequencies balanced out, we can do that right here. Occasionally I'll pull out my my acupuncture pen. We do electromagnetic acupuncture and things like that.
Because you showed me a while ago, you have some technology too that can like scan the whole body.
Yeah,
you can do those things.
Yeah, basically, we have access to some of the latest technology based on like Tesla tech and some of Einstein's principles, and Royal Raymond Rife. I don't know this. At one point, he was like the world's most famous doctor, but due to what we talked about earlier, he was also at some point like shunned and like pushed into the dark. And,
even Tesla was. So you see,
exactly. But his technology basically runs everything that we deal with, probably down to these microphones and some of the wireless technology that we're using. But basically, the information or the technology that we're using is a simple biofeedback technology. So basically, there's about 120,000 tests that we can run on your body in about 5 or 10 minutes. The machine runs all the tests. It shoots all the information back in. And the reason why this is so important for us as naturopaths, as holistic healthcare professionals, is that whenever we do a holistic assessment with people, we ask some really personal questions. And sometimes people may not want to share certain things, and other times, we need historical data. And sometimes they may have forgotten that they broke something, or that they had something happen, or didn't know that they had a surgery when they were 3. But all of this information, when we ask it, we actually really need it so that we know what we're dealing with. But our machine picks up on everything that they know and don't know. And so we can ask questions through the machine that and so when they actually go through afterwards, and they're like, oh, they give us we just do a preliminary questioning now. We don't go too detailed so they don't feel, like it's invasive. But as they go through it, then they're like, oh my goodness, how did you know that my my meniscus was torn on my left leg, and my second toe has a, it's all.
And with that kind of stuff, you have people that only come and ask for that. Like, how do you brand that you can? Because there's probably not, if it's not many, if anybody else, I will say, we're in Atlanta, the podcast goes out everywhere, that are doing that. How do people know that they can find that here?
Well, I'll tell you, kind of to what Tim was saying earlier, a lot of this technology it's heavily available in Europe.
Okay.
So until last year, you couldn't even get this technology under $40,000.
Wow.
So it wasn't even available unless you come out the pocket. So mostly medical doctors and chiropractors, and typically the ones overseas, were the ones who were buying this technology and utilizing it in their practices.
Yeah.
There's a few, well-intended allopathic physicians in the United States that use this technology as well. But it's still kind of like, because frequency technology, now that they've done some TED Talks on it, and now that they're treating cancer, in these various medical facilities with the same technology. So now it's like, oh, it's real.
Exactly.
But, 20 years ago they were like, oh, that's pseudo.
Okay.
However, anybody who does any of this kind of work, microphones, you understand frequencies and how important it is, and dialing in the right frequencies. The same thing happens in our body. Each organ has its own frequency. Each cell has its own frequency. Everything is vibrating. We have like 70 million volts of electricity in our body if you combine all of this electricity within all our cells. So we're just one big ball of frequency, one big ball of light in flux. If you understand some quantum physics and stuff. I don't want to go too far into it, but so what this frequency technology allows us to do is not only to locate what's going on within the body, so where is the frequency disturbance, but then we have the frequencies just like a tuning fork. If you have like a C across the room and I tap the C here, it's going to make that C vibrate in tune. So it's the same thing. So I just give you the right frequency to your body, and now raise your frequency to the right, to the correct one.
Okay.
That's right. And it's real simple. So we're not doing anything, and that's all people are really doing when they do any kind of health. Whether you're taking herbs, whether you're using even if you're using allopathic medicine, the attempt is to bring things back into balance. Whether or not it does it or not, that's a different.
That's the intent.
Yeah.
So I know recently, just because we also have some business dealings together, that you've gone full-fledged online e-commerce.
Yes.
How does that work with this kind of company?
Man, it works beautifully.
Okay.
I love it. We have easily, trumped what we do in our brick and mortar.
Okay.
So we love it. Our goal right now is just to continue to nurture our organic marketing efforts, and now as we started to roll out our paid marketing efforts, we're just excited to see the growth. That's
okay.
That's really
and that's what I tell people too. This is something like, you knew the steps, you know what you want, so it made it easier for you. But this is something you can transition because you have a packer and shipper for you. So
that's right.
It's essentially, after the marketing, it's pretty much hands off for you, correct?
For the most part. We still do certain things by hand.
Okay.
We did employ a manufacturing company. So that does make things a little easier. And over the next year or so, we plan on slowly transitioning out of making the products that we still make by hand.
Okay.
As we found some other packers that we're looking at. We may go with our manufacturer currently, but we just want to make sure everything is done to our specificity before we hand everything over. Having that co-packing situation, manufacturer, and somebody to ship for you. It's up in business. What I found over the years is systems are very important.
Yeah.
Having your systems in place, and for those of us who like to live a fun lifestyle, it's important to have systems in place, because when you don't, you're working too much in your business and not on your business enough.
Trust me, I deal with that every day.
Yeah.
I deal with that every day. So we've covered the supplements, and like I said, you got so many things going on. We only got our audience for an hour today. I want to transition to some of the other things.
Yeah.
Veganic.
Yes.
Your very popular restaurant here in Atlanta.
Yes.
How did that start, and how did you get to where you're at now? Actually, we're gonna talk about both, because you got Veganic, and then on the 31st of this month, Frequency is opening up, which is a totally different concept.
Yep.
And we'll go into that, but still vegan, but different concept. But start us out with Veganic. How did we get there?
Okay, so Veganic, man, that's probably been in the works since 2014, conceptually.
Yeah.
So it's been something I've been playing with in my mind for a while. I guess I was the head chef over at Cafe Life in Marietta.
Yes.
Which is a vegan place. They were attached to Life grocery store.
Yes.
And they were pretty dead when I got there, and I kind of turned that place around. And I had one of my customers. And I had a lot of like faithful customers. People would come in there and buy like food for like their whole family for like the next 2-3 meals, right? And then come in the next day and do the same thing. So we got really popular. And but one of my clients dealt in financing and different things like that. And he just pulled me to the side one day and he's like, bro, it's like how long you been doing this? And he started asking me questions about my experience in the kitchen as a chef, and just kind of broke some things down to him. He said, man, are you planning on doing your own thing? He said, yeah, I got a few things in the work, and so he kept on coming in, kept picking my brain. He was like, man, I can help you get the funding. He said, I think I can help you. He said, if you want to open your own place, he said, I'm with you. He said, because he's like, I eat here every day. And he came in there, he literally was spending at least $100 every single day. He'd buy 3-4 meals, sit there and eat them, and then buy 2 or 3 more to take home.
Wow.
And he was just dead serious. And he showed up and he walked me through a few things and helped me get the finance. He showed me how to fix my credit and literally walked me through the process of starting to get funding and how to deal with the banks, and he gave me the play, and I just ran the play, and so that's how we were able to open Veganic in 2019. Restaurants are a thing, because I know you talk about numbers in the podcast. Restaurant is not something to play with. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to put out there. This is. It looks glamorous from the outside, especially right now. Everybody seems to have something opening. Well, they're not really opening restaurants, though. Yeah. These are ghost kitchens. These are sometimes it's out of their house.
Yeah. Ghost kitchens are big play now.
It's a big play.
And a brick and mortar restaurant, you probably hate money because you're giving it away.
Look, the only way I will do brick and mortar as a 100% owner at this point is if I own the building 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're able to do so much. I was actually, and I know we were talking about Frequency Cafe, but Veganic actually turned into about 5 or 6 different restaurants. So out of that play, we actually opened up a breakfast restaurant, all vegan, a Mexican restaurant, an Italian restaurant, a soul food restaurant, and an Asian restaurant. So it turned into 6 viable restaurants on its own, utilizing the ghost kitchen model. And then in doing that, we actually became a tech company that served food, because we adopted so much technology to bolster up our business to operate. It literally became a tech company.
So let me touch on that, because that's the whole point of the show is to give everybody gems on stuff they can use and take yourself, because I want to break down the things that you may think are so astronomical that you can't do.
Yeah.
Please, I know what it is, but please explain to people the concept of a ghost kitchen.
Okay, so a ghost kitchen is like, let's say you're literally at home, okay, and you sign up with Uber Eats, okay. You can serve food out of your house. through Uber Eats or through Grubhub right now. Now, the legalities on that, I'm gonna stay away from that.
They're a little gray. I wouldn't even begin to touch those.
Yeah, I'll stay away. I'm not giving no legal advice. But I would say look into your local municipality to figure out what's going on there, because everywhere is different.
And it doesn't necessarily even have to be your house. It could be a shared shared kitchen where you rent space.
Yeah, so that's how I got into it. And so that's a great. I want to touch on that first, because shared spaces are a great option if you want to do that, because they take care of all of the legalities for you. So that helps you with anything you have to do for the city. If you're in a shared kitchen, 9 times out of 10 they already did it for you. So you just pay your fee and show up.
You're good
do
to
what
go.
you do. Now, there's different setups. So some shared kitchens are just for vegan kitchens. Some shared kitchens, they don't care, but there may be some cross contamination. So if you're really vegan, be really vegan, because that's kind of like kosher.
Yeah.
Vegans are serious. If they find out that you're not doing what you said, they're gonna leave you alone.
Yeah.
But if you're doing what they think you're supposed to be doing, they will support you to the end of the earth.
And that's a great business model, just like not even Atlanta, but man, they're becoming like countrywide, like at least with popularity. But if you think of like Slutty Vegan here in Atlanta, shout out Pinky.
Yeah.
Before she was even in the food truck, she was at a shared kitchen.
That's right.
And she would do burgers 3 hours a day, do Uber Eats and Grubhub. They would pick up, you cook your stuff, you pick up. But she was a genius at marketing.
That's right.
And so I know, like you guys are the tech, transitioning into a tech company, you gotta be great with the marketing, because you can do a shared space, shared kitchen, have great marketing, say, hey, for 4 hours I cook ham sandwiches, ham and cheese sandwiches, but they're the best. But if you miss the window, these 4 hours on Grubhub, no ham sandwiches for you for another 4 days or whatever. And you create that scarcity, and people don't know. People think, oh, well, they're on Grubhub, but they're being cooked in a shared kitchen or someone's grandma's house in the back kitchen. So
that's right. And those are all viable options. And shout out to Pinky, because like it's funny. It's like I haven't met her personally, but I'm like so connected, like 6 degrees and stuff, like 1, 2 degrees, like.
Because you both have the 2 biggest vegan options here in the city of Atlanta. So
it's interesting, because the vegan thing is, like you said, very popular right now, and so it definitely is a viable model, and people that are not vegan are trying it out. Those people aren't necessarily having the best chances at it, but it's open market, because still there's only 5% vegans in this country. So we're still like super minority, but we spend money. Like when it comes to food, we will circulate the dollar. It is what it is. And we will travel. So if you make it easy for us, like even being a restaurateur, restaurantpreneur, I still shop with everybody. I keep relationships open with all of the different companies, all the different chefs. I go in there, I let them know I'm shopping with them. They know me, they know what I do, but they still see me in their establishment, because I like to support, and that keeps the community strong, I believe. And as far as the marketing piece, and I'll be honest, like I'm just now really getting my marketing legs together. My marketing from jump has always been organic, so even with the food, it's always been word of mouth. When we started, I didn't know how to do a Facebook ad, to be honest. I knew what it was in theory. You know what I'm saying? I had seen the business portal in the back office and all that stuff, but I didn't really know how to use it, how to finesse it properly. So I'm just now getting to that point. But I was handing out flyers. Like I did old school. Like our first location was a little 5 Points, so we just walked up and down the street handing out flyers.
Great area for a vegan. Was there anything else vegan over there in Little 5 Points?
At the time, there was a pop-up on the weekends. I forget me, because I love all your desserts. I forget the sister's name. She used to be inside Moods Music. She had all the delicious desserts, the miniature sweet potato pies and the brookies. She would make these delicious vegan cookies mixed with a brownie.
I know you're talking. I forget young lady's name. But yeah.
So they had that, and then they had another vegan spot at the end of the corner. And no shot at them, I don't remember their name, but they were heavily soy based.
Oh, okay.
And for vegans these days, that's kind of like either a no-go or a cheat day.
Yeah.
That's like cheat day for us.
Yeah. That's like the vegans that just eat French fries for four meals a day.
The people that eat it all the time usually are the ones who just started.
Yeah.
And there are junk food vegetarians.
There is.
So that's a thing. So yeah, those people kind of eat there all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would see people in there, but they have funny hours also. So they're not always open.
It's off the subject. Got a vegan question.
Sure.
As if I'm a true vegan, can I have beef from a honey, or is that considered an animal product?
Okay, so that's a great question. So here's the thing with that. So technically, vegans, by the classical terminology of vegan, honey is not vegan.
Okay.
Not classically. Now, as a naturopath, as an acupuncturist, as an herbalist, honey, propolis, some of the other, the pollen, these are things that would be considered non-vegan, but they do not come out of, let's say, many people say honey is bee vomit.
Okay.
But it's actually not.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother conversation too, but so to answer your question, no, it's not vegan.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. I was wondering because I've gotten all kinds of, I've asked other vegans that, and to my audience, many years ago, I was vegan for about a year. I was actually, you and I talked about, can't even think of the name, but I essentially raw foods. Okay. So I didn't eat anything cooked over 140 degrees. So that I don't want to say hard, but difficult because it's still, it's still even the limit of vegan stuff. Yeah. And a lot of the people that I dealt with there, because that would be the question, can I have honey for this or add it to this? And there would be people that would be like well, no, it still came from the soul of an animal, and their fact was the reason why I don't do this is because just like a beef patty, something had to die for that. And I was like, well, maybe the beef didn't die, but it lost a piece of its soul. So I was like, okay, I didn't get that. But
you good?
Good. Okay. We're good. Oh, okay.
So bees don't die from that. Especially, if you're gonna get honey, you want to get your locally sourced honey. Yeah. You want to get wild honey if you can get it, and organic honey. So that means that the flowers that were grown for these bees were cared for in a certain way, and it was kept in a certain area away from,
chemicals, all the other stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's one of the things that we're actually moving into on a personal level. Me and my wife, beekeeping.
It's big business now.
Yeah, we're getting ready to. We're starting some classes up actually at the end of this month, and getting us some bee boxes because we grow enough herbs and flowers. And one thing I've learned over the last 3 years growing all of these herbs is that all of these herbs have these beautiful flowers. Yeah. Even mint. It has even chives and even you'd be so surprised. So like one of the honeys that we want to really focus on, because we grow a lot of holy basil, which is the top anti-inflammatory on the planet. Okay. It's there with turmeric on the anti-inflammatory level. They made COX-2 inhibitors were based on this particular plant. So this is the thing that they used to use to try to fight cancer years ago. But when they tried to synthesize it in the laboratory, it killed people. It's too, the chemical structure when they synthesize it is just too toxic. So this natural, beautiful smelling herb flower plant is perfect the way it comes. But the bees, we have so much in the backyard, and the bees just come and they're on it all day. Yeah, from a business standpoint, bee box, great margins on honey because it's not so much. Just takes time to make it, but it's not like it's. And if you're doing that and you had your own natural honey, like in your brick and mortar shop, it's just the time on it, and
great margins on honey.
And I have relationships with places like Seven Island.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
It wouldn't be a hard transition.
No, not at all. That's what's up. So we talked about Veganic and how you got there. Most people, this podcast is dropping on Monday the 18th.
Okay.
So most people don't know. It's kind of the announcement of it, but I asked you, you said it was all right. So explain to everybody what Frequency is.
Okay. So Frequency Cafe is a new concept that we are opening inside the Iwi Fresh Farm Oasis in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be on the 3rd floor. So it's basically going to be it's not going to be a raw food vegan spot, but there's going to be a lot of high frequency food. So there will be a lot of locally grown, everything is going to be locally sourced from farms right here in the Atlanta area.
Okay.
We're actually going to be getting a large percentage. I think we're sourcing about 10 different sprouts from a small farm right around the corner from here. And we're actually also getting our barley grass. So, a lot of people do like wheatgrass shots.
Yeah,
But, there's issues with wheat. People have wheat allergies.
Yeah.
People have gluten allergies. Then, there's the people who don't do wheat because of its, some people because of Dr. Sebi said don't have wheat. And some people because wheat is it's actually a genetically modified food in its current state.
Yeah.
So a barley is something similar enough where it has the same nutritional profile, even maybe a little bit stronger. So basically, like a 1 ounce shot is equivalent to 2.5 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Oh wow! So the shot, just like the same premise as a wheatgrass shot.
Same premise. It's just more nutritious. It's not as sweet. It's a little more like okay.
Oh, okay. You had some barley. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So we're basically trying to raise the vibration. That's why it's called Frequency Cafe. So the same thing we talked about with the frequency earlier.
Yeah.
Same thing with the food. So we just want to make sure that the food is at a certain frequency. Living food, as you did food for a while. It's just at a higher vibration. When you eat that lifestyle for a while, you will feel the difference. You will feel the energy coming off of you because you're eating photons. When you eat green food fresh, you're eating sunlight. And so that sunlight transmits into the body. That's like raw energy.
Because I've been vegetarian and vegan as well. But raw food, you do feel completely different. Because you can be a vegan and no shot to anybody and still eat like crap. I know, and I'm no model of health, but I know several 400-pound vegans.
I have an associate of mine that I used to work with. He is a self-proclaimed junk fooditarian, and he literally showed me a website where he can go and find anything in any restaurant or any, all the good junk food. Like he was the one that told me, he's like, yeah, Oreos are vegan. And, like, you eat Oreos? I'm like, even though they're vegan, I still wouldn't eat them.
Yeah.
Like the amount of chemical in it is like astronomical. So
which is scary too, because there's no cream at all made in those. So it's all chemicals.
He gave me the Waffle House cheats, which restaurants, which fast food restaurant you can go buy fries at that aren't mixed with the chicken.
Wow.
He just had, that's his knowledge.
That's a hell of a website. Nice play on them, because I'm sure it's a popular.
Oh, it's a website. I don't recall the name of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel different. So with high frequency, you'll feel that. And can we drop? There's a pop up on the 31st. Can we tell people about that?
Yeah. So we're doing a pop up here at the Iwi Farm Oasis. So it's going to be on Halloween, if you will. Okay. So it's going to be a big event here. We're actually going to be launching not only the restaurant, but it's going to be like a coming soon pop up.
Okay.
So our opening date is going to be sometime 2022.
Okay.
But we're also going to be dropping a CBD drink.
Yes.
Known as Blue Drink.
I'm familiar with that as well. That's and how's Blue Drink been doing? Because I know about it just because of our connection, but you're heavily involved in it on the day to day. How's that coming along?
Man, it's coming along beautifully. We could be rushing it if we wanted to, but I'm glad with the pace. I'm very happy with the pace we're going at. It's kind of like, it's not quite a slow walk, but it's like a paced walk. And I like it like that because everything that we've put together or planned to do has come to fruition. We've taken on some strategic partners to help us take it to the next level. So we think we're in a position in the particular market we're in with that particular product that I don't think anyone else is quite in our position.
People, I know what it is, but explain to us, what is the Blue Drink?
So Blue Drink is basically a CBD, so it's a medicinal lemonade.
Okay.
Okay, and so the lemonade or the limonade that the CBD is in is all organic. It uses blue spirulina, which is, right now it's very hot.
Yeah.
But I've been using it for a long time.
All your restaurants have always had blue spirulina.
I've always been involved in it.
Yeah.
But now it's like popular, and so it just, we were already in the market, so it kind of worked out. And our lemonade was already famous.
It was.
Lemonade.
Yeah.
So we just added our CBD to it. So originally, before we had our own CBD product, we were using John Sally's product.
Yeah.
So we still carry all of John Sally's products. He's a great strategic partner in our herb shop. And, he's a great friend. And he's given me great insight into this market and this business in general, because he's also a chef and a naturopath. So we walk like the same line, minus the NBA championships. Right? But his life now is more similar to how my life has been as an adult. And so now we have our CBD product, which we actually use for our product line. So we're just excited to bring it to the forefront. It's had great testing in the market. People love it. People are drinking it all over the country. So now we're just getting ready to put some money behind it and do it right so that we can,
so
release it.
This is not part of I could be wrong, but I don't think it's part of your business model yet. I don't know if you're moving this way or not, but are you moving more towards the CBD products? Would there be a dispensary in the future? What do you see on that? Because that's changing everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely medical marijuana at large, to me, is the wave of the future. Yeah. But I've been screaming this for 25 years.
Yeah.
So, as people are catching up, it just makes it easier for me to step into those empty slots.
Yeah.
It's like, because I already got it. The information, I've done the research, I'm in the field, I'm dealing with people every day, I'm seeing the benefits, testimonies are coming in left and right. So when you're living it and have the experience, it's different from someone just saying, what we call the block of wood demonstration, just pointing the way.
Yeah.
So rather than pointing the way, it's like I am the way, and I can show you guys this way.
Are there challenges? And my little side commentary is the reason why I asked you that, and the reason why I want to see people that look like us, because unfortunately we've been criminalized the last 40 years for these things. So my first question I always ask, are they gonna people in the early 90s that got 90 years in prison for marijuana sales under the Clinton crime bill, that got the basketball years, the 85 years, the 88 years for non-violent cannabis sales, are those going to be overturned? But and I want to say flippantly, even if they're not, the one thing that has discouraged me is I see so many people that don't look like us already staking their staking their flag in this. Because one thing I've seen is that there's a lot of, they say that when they make the licenses available, especially places in the South, like Atlanta, hubs, they're going to make them available to people that have previous liquor licenses. Yeah. And so that's club owners, restaurateurs, and a lot of them don't look like us. So they're already kind of setting it up to move to a certain, so has it been hard navigating to where you've been so far, or did you already have a lot of those connections beforehand?
It hasn't been hard to navigate yet. Okay. They are doing exactly what you said. Yeah. So, and that's across the board. That's across the United States, period. So I'll backtrack just a little bit and say that when things go completely federal, once Senate and the House have signed off on a bill that sweeps across the nation, then more than likely soon thereafter, the people that have been locked up and criminalized through that process should be released. So there has been
grounds for appeal at that point. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one thing that I'm definitely looking forward to, because I even I've been in contact with certain people. I was in contact with a gentleman in New Orleans who had received 20 years for like a joint or two.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is in New Orleans because how their laws are set up.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about somebody who was selling it. We're not talking about somebody who was a kingpin.
Yeah.
We're not talking about somebody who had who was shipping a pound across state line. None of that was going on.
Yeah.
He literally had 2 joints in his pocket and got 20 years. But so we definitely are looking forward to finding justice for people who have gone through that injustice. One, and then on the other end, so yeah, across the board, there's been a lot of what I would consider like legislative just weakness.
Yeah.
The lobbyists always have a certain agenda, right? And so in this conversation, what needs to really come out is, who's lobbying for us.
Yeah.
So there are people lobbying on our behalf.
Okay.
And it's important that those who are interested in this, join NORML, find out who is lobbying in your local areas, who are the lawyers who are involved in this particular fight, so that you can be, involved and in the know of what's going on in the city and the state, because Georgia is in a very precarious position as far as that's concerned, because not only have they allowed the production of CBD agriculture, right?
Yeah.
So you can grow CBD hemp all day long in Georgia. You pay for your license and you can get to growing. But when it comes to medical marijuana specifically, they've made it legal to acquire it if you have certain ailments, right? But they have not made it legal to produce it or to even source it.
So you can grow it, but then you can't.
So there's people with cards and licenses that can't go and get it legally.
Oh, okay.
That was the issue.
That seems like something in Georgia. How it happened? Seems like the South.
That was the issue a few years ago. And this was supposed to be the fix. That was an issue a few years ago when it was 18 and under. So they had made medical cannabis legal for 18 and under children.
Yeah.
It was a list of various issues. Most of those parents and families moved out to Colorado and California to get the medicine and the access that they needed to find the solutions that they needed. Because for a lot of them, especially the ones that had the multiple seizures daily, those people found instant help with the CBD. And at that time, they couldn't get the access. So they've made it that a little bit easier on the CBD side, but now the medical marijuana there's still a barrier. So some people are saying a few years, some people are saying by the end of this year.
That would be great. And just like I was saying, from a business side, the thing that worries me is people that look like us. We're always, and when I say Johnny come lately, I don't mean because of something we're doing, but because the barriers of exclusion always are open for us last.
Yeah, and it's like I just said, it goes back to the legislation. So they write the legislation a certain way for that purpose. They know that majority of us don't know about our credit and don't know about business credit. Don't know how to go get funding. So when you don't have the proper funding and you just have the idea, and eventually somebody else has that idea also. Does the same thing that you want to do.
They had the money. I've been there, and I've always said to you, hey, I know you got 90 other things you're doing, but you should teach a course on that, because as long as I've known you, almost 20 years, you've always talked about how to raise your business funding, the little gems. Hey, go to Staples. You get your DMV number, start an account.
You're right.
And do that. Yeah.
I'm actually putting some stuff together now because a lot of people are coming to me. Although, I used to offer that service to people via another company. people are like saying exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Say, hey man, like we need this. Can you just show us?
You've always been up on it, man. You were the first person to ever show me Roku. To be like, this is how we get something on there. This is how you can.
I was
do
like,
this.
this is the future of TV.
Streaming.
Before
streaming. Back when you were mailing away for a Netflix DVD, you were telling me like, no, streaming's gonna change.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I worked with somebody who unfortunately stole from me that was set to design the Roku station.
Oh wow!
Paid them lots of money.
Oh, that's right, you did. And one set up.
Yeah, and they disappeared, and and we were shopping our stuff to other streaming services. Yeah. But hey, you were right.
Well, I still got 2 channels.
Yeah,
so we can talk later.
Yeah, no, well, we're gonna get some of this content on them as well. Yeah. But yeah, no, you've always been able to see around corners and ahead of it.
You bringing some of that to light, huh?
Yeah.
Back, I'm like, hey,
yeah, I remember so long ago.
Yeah, that's probably like 05, 06.
Yeah, you were like, yo, streaming is the way to go. Yeah. And you're like, we should produce content, just get it out there. And the one thing that I'm doing differently that it took all these years I didn't do is document. Because you were always telling me content is king 15 years ago, and I didn't listen, but now I know how content is king. Yeah, we were producing content, just none of my own for other people. Yeah. So now that's been good. So I appreciate it and thank you for taking this time with us. Like I said, I always want to make sure everybody in the audience gets something out of it. Any last bit on any of your business, well, just pertaining to business, what can you tell people? Because you've done what you want to do, stay true to your values with natural health, herbalism, a vegan lifestyle, and manage to make a business out of it and not have to compromise. So what would you tell anybody that looking to start any kind of business, how they can do that?
Man, anything that someone is doing, anything that you're doing, if you believe in yourself, if you have a vision, just walk it. You're not always gonna have all the tools you need, so just walk. As you walk the path, things will come into your path as you need them. As you become aware that you actually need a thing, it'll pop up and you'll see it, and you just move on it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. A lot of the things that I was told that I couldn't do, not only am I doing it, but it has been shown to be $1 trillion industry now. So that's why I'm moving the way I am, and now I'm, you brought out some great points. Like I'm moving now a little more sure-footed and a little more calculated. Okay. So and you said it right. Even if you don't, you know me for a while. Yeah. So I'm the type of person, and I know everyone's not like this, but I'm the type of person, if I want to do something, I'll jump out the window or out the plane, and then I'll build my parachute on my way down. That's just how I am. Really? So I know some people aren't necessarily that crazy, because some people look at that like just crazy, like you don't know what's next, you don't know what's coming, you don't have no security. For me, it's more secure to be moving the way I want to move. I feel like I am, and I feel like we all are, but I feel like I'm God's highest form of creation. You know what I'm saying? I literally feel that connection, like I'm the child or a child of the Most High. So I think that if I am the child of the Most High, that I'm entitled to all of the goodness. You know what I'm saying? So I don't deny or deprive myself of anything that I actually really want.
That's a bar right there.
And that being said, you still have to keep your passions within the bounds of righteousness. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just keeping that in mind, man, has kept me going, keep me on the path. Yeah.
That's what's up. And that's a great way to close this out. And what I love that you've done, and you explained it, if you just watch the podcast, you'll see how you build your parachute on the way out the door. But you source bottles, you source caps, you literally grew your own first supplements. Yeah. You started with a ghost kitchen, made great meals, took a picture with your phone, put them up on Uber Eats, and DoorDash. So literally, you can start with what's in hand. You can jump out, and these are things that people did buy, but if nobody, it wasn't in the masses at first. But if no one bought a meal that first day, it didn't kill you.
No.
Yeah, and then you just live to fight another day.
And you know what I learned? I was studying marketing this morning. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning. That's why I was running.
I saw your text. This is like, so man, you responded back at like 5 this morning.
I was up like super early, right? And one thing that I learned this morning is that even if you're wrong, or even if you make a mistake in your business, doesn't stop you from getting to the bag. So you don't have to do it right at first. Yeah. You can get it wrong at first, but if you still have a client, you still did what you were supposed to do. You still reached your goal. And the more you do it, the better you get. And so
comes exercise.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes that's a better way to learn, because if you came out the gate and someone said, "Gabe, here's $500,000," and you sunk it in this Roku that may not have worked out, then you would be up the creek.
That's
but
right.
The fact that you can start in a way where you don't lose something.
The slow build, man. That whole turtle in the hair thing, man.
Yeah.
Take your time. Not everybody's gonna end the race at the same time. But as long as you finish it, and the way you intended on finishing it, that's all that matters.
It's a marathon.
Yep.
So I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. October 10/31, the frequency pop-up. If you're in the Atlanta area, please check us out. I don't know where below me is, but in the YouTube link, you'll definitely, if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see the description and links. So see to that. Also, we'll have the links to SMI Pharmacy. And if you come, tell them that the Grind Chronicles podcast sent you, and
we'll get 10% off for sure.
Yeah, Gabe will take care of you.
I'll plug you a thing.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Whatever the name you want me to put in there, I'll put it.
We'll do that. We'll do like Grind Chronicles or something, and we'll set up the coupon code. So guys, I appreciate it. Thank you as always, and like I always tell you, keep going. It is a grind, but just keep going, and you'll be there.